Hello there, this is Scott Beecher. I'm the president and owner of Ward Diesel, Ward Apparatus, EL Manufacturing, Boss Security, Best Corporate Park here in the old Schweitzer Sikorsky building in Horseheads, adjacent to the airport. And for one, our companies were definitely very beneficial to receive the PPP, the Payroll Protection Program. Really helped us pivot some of our people to change to actually make face shields. We've done tens of thousands of face shields and other things for first responders, hospitals, corrections, and many community businesses and agencies. And I definitely appreciate the great support from Senator Schumer and his office and all their staff to be able to make that happen. And extending it was crucial for us to really be here and keep our businesses open and growing and moving forward. So it is my honor and privilege to introduce Senator Schumer. And I will turn it over to him. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Scott. And let me thank Scott and all the workers at Ward Apparatus and Ward Diesel Filter. We also have here Charlie Burke. He's the Vice President of Sales for Swift Glass. We have Todd Kozalik. He's the Business Manager for Rimco Plastics. We have Stephen Donnelly, President of Stephen Donnelly Associates. We have Thomas Douglas, the Superintendent, because we're talking about two issues here, small business and schools. We're going to do them separately. But in the second half, we have Thomas Donnelly, he's Superintendent of Horseheads Schools District, Amy Howell, the Business Manager of Watkins Glen Central School District, and Kai DeLeva, the Watkins Glen High School Principal. Okay, so first let's talk a little bit about small businesses. We know that they are the lifeblood of our communities. And this building right here is an example. This was the old Sikorsky helicopter area, and before that, those nice brothers who I helped big time. What were their names, their last names?
The Schweitzer.
Yeah, are they ever around here anymore?
My sister married into their family.
They were very, very nice. Much nicer than Sikorsky, who we didn't like very much. Then they were bought out by a company that does make helicopters in New York, Lockheed Martin, which makes them over in Tioga, and we always help them. But in any case, this is an example of the revitalization of the Twin Tiers, because Sikorsky left unceremoniously, and we have lots of new prosperous businesses here, including some that I have mentioned. So this is a good thing. But obviously, the pandemic affected small businesses dramatically. They had all kinds of problems. They couldn't sell, they lost revenue, they had new expenses, lots of different problems for our small businesses. And so I helped pass a program called the PPP. And that helped small businesses, all businesses under 500, the Payroll Protection Program. And that would pay for 8 weeks their salaries of their employees, plus it started out at 25%, now it's gone up to 40%. They would get a low interest loan for non-personnel expenses, including, rent and insurance and utilities. But if they kept their employees on the payroll, those loans would be forgiven. They would change into grants. So that was a good program, and the groups here have taken advantage of that. So what's the problem? Well, here's the problem. We passed that several months ago, and it was for 8 weeks, because people thought Corona would be gone by then, and these businesses would get that assistance and then be ready to roll. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. And we still have Corona with us, much less here in the Twin Tiers, much less in New York State, but still all around the country, and it's hurting business. So I am here to say that we are pushing a bipartisan proposal called P4 to extend and give these businesses that got protection for their payroll for 8 weeks another 8 weeks so they could reapply again. The program doesn't expire till August 8th, and if we pass this, they could get at least 8 weeks and maybe more in the new PPP program. We need it very badly, as these businesses will tell you. They want to keep their employees. I care about small business. My dad was a small businessman. He had a little exterminating business. It wasn't very successful. My sister used to send him a Father's Day card that said, "Dad, we're the only family that associates the smell of DDT with love." He hated his business. I worked in the summers there. It was awful. I mean, he's so worried about everything because I know what small business people go through. And he'd often pace the floor Sunday nights at 2 a.m. because he hated going to work. And my brother, sister, and I would hear him. We still remember it. Now, praise God, my dad is now 97. He retired at 70, and he's 97 years old. And he's a funny guy. He said, I'm 97. How bad could DDT have been for you? But in any case, so I know what small business people go through, and we are going to go to bat to get the PPP program, the P4 Act, extended so these businesses can get some more time with the federal government paying both their employees and their expenses. The program does not run out, as I said, till August 8th. And I'd say one other thing to small businesses in the Southern Tier, in the Twin Tiers. If you applied and were rejected, apply again. Initially, when it was rolled out, it was sort of a mess. If you had a good friend at a bank, you would get money. But if you were a little business and you didn't have a banker friend, you often got lost in the shuffle. But we changed it. And we set aside an extra set of money, $100 billion, just for small little businesses that don't have connections to banks. And so if you applied and were rejected, you can apply again, and you should, because you have till August 8th to do it, which is about, what's today? About 3 weeks from now, I guess, a little more than 3 weeks. So please do that. But for the businesses that have gotten it, I am very hopeful that we can extend this again so you can get another round, and that's what we're here to say on that. Okay? Anything else on that I left out? The great Amanda Spellacy, who runs our Southern Tier office. Should we do that and then do the schools? I think we'll do that and then do the schools with the okay with the educators. So our first speaker is Scott, our host, Scott Beecher. Great. Okay, Scott.
Thank you very much, sir. Yes, so for us, our four main companies, the Ward Diesel, Ward Apparatus, Boss Security Automation, and EL Manufacturing, all tie together very well, but each of them are different companies. And with the PP program, it actually allowed us to keep all of our employees. We did not do layoffs. We were, as we do products and services for first responders, health and safety products and services, we were deemed essential and stayed open. However, we didn't have a lot of new projects coming in, a lot of new sales coming in. So what we were able to do is reposition ourselves, tool part of our manufacturing processes, and actually within a matter of about a week or so, start manufacturing face shields. And then we've also worked together with some of our partners to provide sneeze guards and other resources for businesses now that they're reopening. So for us, without the PPP, I don't know what we would have done to be able to keep the doors open for all the companies and keep everybody employed. Our big concern too is, if we're not keeping the doors open and the employees working, as this does turn around, you lose quality people, you lose your team, you lose that team building. So for us, it was absolutely instrumental for us to be able to have that funding to be able to offer, lower cost items that I can afford to have our people manufacture and switch from a higher end technical job to making $4, $5, $6, $8 face shields. But because of the PPP, it did give us that opportunity to be able to keep everybody, retool, and really adopt to what we needed and help provide crucial pieces for our first responders in local communities. So with that, again, I very much thank you and thank all your team.
Renewed.
So thank you.
Who's next, Amanda? Is everyone speaking? Charlie?
Charlie Burke.
Okay.
Charlie
Burke
Burke.
is the Vice President for Swift Glass.
Yes, we're a custom flat glass fabricator just down the road in Elmira Heights. The PPP program was extremely essential for us. We had a wonderful partner in the local bank that made everything very easy. It came at a time where our sales dropped 25%, our profits dropped 40%, and at the same time we were deemed essential. So we didn't shut down, yet many of our customers are in the COVID treatment business. One of our customers supplies instruments for COVID testing. Another customer supplies sensors that go into the respirators that are keeping many of the people alive at this point. and a few more of our customers make robots and other UV sterilization equipment that needed the glass that we fabricate in order for these machines to function properly. And they were in dire need of glass as soon as we could get them, and if we couldn't keep a full workforce at Swift Glass, this would not have happened. And I can't thank you enough for the support that the government has given us. And we look forward to more support and trying to make this community strong and get through this pandemic. So I thank you very much.
Great. Thank you, Charlie. Now we have Todd Kozelip, and he is the business manager for Rimco Plastics.
Good afternoon, folks.
You can see the different types of businesses that came here, and they employ a lot of people. It's great. Go ahead.
Good afternoon, folks. As Senator Schumer said, Todd Kozlik, Rimco Plastics. Our company is very small. These guys are much bigger than us. We're 25 people, and this helped us dramatically. It was able to make sure that we could maintain our workforce. Our main concern was if we had to lay people off, that we may not be able to get them back, and that would be a problem for us when things do start to pick up again. And we never slowed down. We were deemed essential as everybody else was too, and we had to keep going. And our concern was if we lost our workforce, that maintaining the business and working with Scott with doing face shields and other sorts of things like that would really have slowed us down. So thanks again to Senator Schumer for all his help. And
last but not least of the business group, we have Stephen Donnelly. He's president of Stephen Donnelly Associates.
Thank you so much, Senator, and thank you for coming out. I think I speak on behalf of everybody here to say we appreciate everything you've done for the PPP program and the ongoing support you're giving to small businesses. Stephen Donnelly Associates is a consulting, marketing, and public relations firm. We have clients in about 25 states and about 5 countries that we work with right now. We're based out of Owego in Tioga County. And the PPP is was extremely helpful to us and has been extremely helpful. For us, we're in professional services, so our biggest expense is payroll. So obviously, the payroll portion of it was extremely necessary. When we all heard about the pandemic, I think we all were obviously floored as to what was going on and a lot of uncertainty. And one of my commitments as a business owner was really to make sure that my employees were able to focus on their families and their health and not have to worry about their careers. So the PPP really enabled us to do that, and I've been very excited and blessed at what the government has done in response to the pandemic, and we look forward to continuing to grow and continuing to expand as a company, and we really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. And let me just say, 98% of the businesses in this region, in the Twin Tier region, are small businesses. And so this program was vital for them and vital for their employees, who were able to continue to get paid and pay their mortgages, pay their rents, buy food, and do the things that families do. Any questions on this program from the press? And then we'll go to education. Okay, thank you, press, for no questions. Okay, now education. So one of the big questions that everybody has, and these folks will have it as parents and as business owners, is will school start next month? Now that we're at the height of summer. And the bottom line is we all want the kids to go back to school. It's better when they're in school actually getting educated, much better than online. But at the same time, we want everyone to be safe. When a parent sends their kid to school, they want to make sure they're safe. When a teacher teaches in the classroom, they want to make sure they're safe. When you have other workers at the school, you want them safe. And our business leaders want to make sure that their workers don't have to stay home and watch the kids. So it's really vital that we open up our schools, but open them up safely. How are we going to do that? The answer is very simple. If we give the schools the dollars they need to make sure the kids are safe and the teachers are safe and the employees are safe, we can sort of have our cake and eat it too. Open up the schools, but be sure they're safe. The schools have enormous new expenses. For instance, if you're going to open up a school and have the kids there, you're going to have to give them masks. Well, let's see. How many kids are in the, Dr. Douglas, how many kids are in the Horsehead School District?
roughly 4,000.
So he has 4,000 kids in the Horsehead School District. It's 180 days of school a year. We have any math majors here? Let's see. And let's say it's 50 cents a mask. That's several $100,000 right there. Transportation. You may not be able to sit the kids on the buses right next to each other. You may have to have two separate pickups for half the kids and then another for half the kids. That's an expense. All the PPE that is needed, that's an expense. And a lot of our schools, I don't know if any here in Watkins, Glen, or in Horseheads, but what they're going to do is they want to convert the gyms and the lunchrooms, the cafeterias, into classrooms. That takes money. So there are tremendous expenses that our school districts have. And at the same time, because the state is thinking of cutting back aid, they may get real cutbacks in state aid. So unless we get them some real federal dollars, it'll be very hard to open up the schools safely. And everyone wants the schools to open up, but everyone wants them to be safe. A parent doesn't want the dilemma of saying, I want my kid to have a good education, but I want to make sure he's safe. And by the way, this not only applies to the kids and the teachers, but when the kids go home, even though the younger kids don't have symptoms of COVID, they could carry COVID. And if they're with mom and dad, or certainly grandma and grandpa, they could give it to them. So it's really important. So the second thing we're proposing, this 1-2 punch to help our community and communities throughout New York and America, is a new program called Sesera. And it will pay $175 billion to our K through 12 schools, and they can use the money flexibly as they wish so that they can deal with all of the new expenses to make the schools safe. Second, we also propose some money for childcare, and I don't know if this is true in either Watkins, Glen, or Horseheads, but it'll be true in some of the areas here. We supply some money so they can give hotspots and give broadband to some of the kids, because sometimes the kids will have to stay home and sometimes they'll come to school. So it's a very well thought out program, and we are trying to get this passed as well. And if we can do it, our kids will be able to go back to school safely. The parents will know they're safe. The teachers, administrators, people who clean up the schools and all that. By the way, every day they're going to have to scrub down everything. That's another expense, both in employees and in materials. There are so many expenses. And so both of these pieces of legislation are vital, extending the PPP and putting up the Sesera program and passing it. The good news, both of them have bipartisan support, and we're hopeful we can get them done in the next 3 weeks. The House has not passed either of these programs yet, but the House they have passed the big COVID-4 bill, which does give money to the state, so if they get that money, they won't cut aid to you. But both Senate and House have Democrats and Republicans strongly for this. Mitch McConnell, who's been rather negative on putting money out there, in the last few days has said, we need a bill, and he wants to help the school kids and the small businesses. So we'll see if he's willing to go as far as we need to go to get it done. But I can assure our businesses, our kids, our teachers, our parents, our grandparents this. I'm going to use all the power I have as minority leader to get both of these things done, because our communities, our economy require it. And with that, we're going to hear from Dr. Douglas from Horsehead School District. Right? Are we doing that, Amanda? Where'd she go? She left. Yeah, we're going up to Schuyler County next. I'm continuing to visit all 62 counties during this crisis, so it's harder to do. Okay, so is it Doctor? Yes, Dr. Douglas.
Thank you, Senator Schumer, and we're very appreciative to you to come to the Southern Tier. On behalf of my fellow superintendents, the school boards across the area, what Senator Schumer said is vitally important. Not only are we facing the projected cut of 20% of our budgets, if something does not happen on the federal level, we also, and I'm very proud to hear, need the assistance in childcare for our local businesses and our local communities. But not only that, we need the help in telephone connectivity, internet connectivity, and broadband. For most of our kids across this area in rural settings and across the nation, that connectivity is what is needed most for education. Because one way or another, we will probably see some type of remote learning, as well as trying to make sure we do our best to get the students back in the educational setting, which we know is best. One of our biggest things that if we could speak to anyone in the area and across the nation is this isn't about political viewpoints. This is about every state needing help to survive one of the worst issues across the nation since even 1918 and 1920 Spanish flu. It is imperative that we all pull together, we look after all the states, and we ask for bipartisan and bicameral support on what's needed to make this nation as great as it has always been. So we want to thank the Senator for coming to the area, and also our fellow communities for making this area one of the luxurious places to live, especially during a very difficult time. So thank you for your help.
Great, thank you. And this area is known as having good schools. They just need a little help to keep up the quality. And now we have Amy Howell, the business manager of Watkins Glen Central School District.
Thank you very much, Senator Schumer, for coming today and giving us an opportunity to speak. I'm the business manager with Watkins Glen Central School District. We're actually located in Schuyler County, where you will be heading soon. We have approximately 1,000 students. Of our $26.5 million budget that was just recently passed, we are counting on 55.5% of that revenue coming from state aid. So this is very important to protect the state aid. Going on top of what you just said with regard to digital equity for our students, purchasing hotspots. In the spring, we had approximately 120 hotspots out to our students. We live in a rural area, rural community, where we don't have access to every home. And in any combination of on-site or virtual learning for the fall and spring of next year, we definitely need to ensure digital equity. So those funds would be very important to us. So thank you very much.
Amy. And Kai Oliva is here, Deliva from Watkins Glen, but you're not going to say, are you Kai? Yes. Yep. Okay. Questions on education? Yes, ma'am.
What happened, so who will be allocating the funds from the federal government if we decide on this?
We give the formula. Here's what we do, both on the money to the localities and on the money to the school districts. There's a formula so it goes directly to them. We don't want to give it to the state because sometimes when the state gets the money, the local school districts and even the local businesses don't see it. In the HEROES bill, the bill that passed the House, there's $37 billion for New York State and $34 billion distributed among the localities. So the city of Elmira would get is Horseheads a town or a village or a city?
It's an area. There's villages and towns and
We're in the town of Big Flats. Right
Big
now,
Flats,
to
the
be honest.
town would
Village
get
of
money
Horseheads and the town of
and the village, right, okay. So they'd all get direct money. And so would Chemung County as well.
You're saying from the HEROES bill. You're saying from the HEROES bill that just
On the local aid. And on the education aid, there is also a formula that it goes on that basis. Okay, any other questions? Well, yes, sir.
The president recently stripped CDC power of controlling the coronavirus numbers. What is your reaction to that?
I think the CDC should be in charge. They're the scientists. One of the reasons that we are behind Europe and East Asia, why are they recovering quicker and better than us? Because the president, frankly, hasn't paid attention to the science. Let the CDC do its thing.
And a follow-up. Are you afraid that the numbers are going to get distorted?
I hope not. That would be very bad. You have to know the truth. The virus is a virus, and it's going to do what it's going to do. And the best way to beat it is to know what it's doing so we can fight it, not to hide it, not to shove it under the rug, not to belittle it. Yes?
how soon will the money from the HEROES bill that was passed be distributed?
Mid-August, right away. And the HEROES bill, the money to the localities allows them to use it for lost revenues as well, because a lot of our towns, villages, cities, counties are losing revenue right now. Okay? Thank you, everybody. And Scott, thank you for your hospitality. Great. Thank you, folks. Okay. Great. Thanks, folks.